Hello, hello. This is Taylor Ursula of That's So Pisces. Happy February. And it is time to talk about our Scorpio third quarter moon. So let's explore. Okay, so this is a third quarter moon in Scorpio taking place on Friday the 2nd at 13 degrees. Just as we did at the Leo full moon last week, we have an immediate interaction with Pluto at 0 degrees. Last week was an opposition, and this week is a square. So both of these are tense interactions. The opposition at the full moon may have felt more confrontational, whereas the square may feel more challenging, more choice-driven. So a little bit of a different tension, but we're still feeling it. We're still feeling, ah! However, it might make some sense in the context of this being a Mars-ruled lunation and Mars having just a few days before this squaring the nodes. So we talked all about how the Capricorn new moon was square to the nodes. This is now where Mars has come in and is ruling the North Node and is also squaring it from Capricorn. And so we might be at this third quarter moon, which is typically about release, sort of taking inventory of what did not pan out or what is not currently yielding any production or progress, and kind of weighing out what we're going to leave behind or put away for now. So thinking about that in that context, we might be sort of feeling some of the shifts within us and in our environments as some of those changes are taking place, or as we are navigating not making changes and grappling with what we are needing to choose to remain with. Mars ruling and squaring that North Node is, or has been, kind of trying to get us to confront where we might have the strength and the capacity to make some changes that feel daunting now. And that certainly shows up in this moon square to Pluto in the aftermath. And so again, even if we feel that we can make the choice to step into something new, it still requires a lot within us. It still requires us to we probably question ourselves while we are in this process of change. We have to contend with all of our deepest fears as we are engaging in change. We feel a deep threat to our stability as change is upon us. And this all makes sense that this might be showing up in this current lunation. Pluto's all about that. We're in a strength year, which we've talked about. So we're really getting into what that actually means, what that actually feels like in real time. To be in a strength year, to be changing means that we are also realigning our instincts, and that feels really, what's happening in there? What is this fear? Is this like empowerment? Am I doing it? Am I starting to feel this? And how am I responding to that? On Friday, we have the moon move into a trine with Saturn in Pisces at 6 degrees. And so this might see us starting to intuit that this is the right direction, that we are able to let go of what we did not choose. In a choice, we are typically picking, not to be super black and white about it, but we're typically picking one or the other. Maybe we're choosing from a few things or a plethora of things, but we are ending up with one of those things and leaving one other or several others behind. So with this trine to Saturn, we may see some of that carving away. I think of Saturn as like chipping away at marble, right? And we do it slowly so that we don't chip away too much. Otherwise, we are stuck, right? We can't go back. So one part of this is that we are doing that chipping away in this third quarter moon. We're looking at the long term with Saturn, and we're thinking about what we don't need to bring with us or what is not appropriate to bring with us. We're also thinking about what we are committing to as we move forward, as we release what is done. We are thinking about what we're going to continue building with. There's an opposition to Jupiter in Taurus at 7 degrees. And maybe this really helps us to amplify what it is that we're committing to feel really robust or celebrated in what we are letting go of. Perhaps we're recognizing where we've gone a little like over the edge with what we are assessing that we're releasing. Maybe we recognize that there's a lot that we're trying to get rid of. Maybe we get a little overzealous. We have a sextile to Venus in Capricorn at 13 degrees, which happens right before the moon squares the sun. So Venus and the sun can't see each other at this point. Venus is in Capricorn. The sun is next door in Aquarius. So they are sort of like neighbors in an apartment building where you're living in parallel spaces, but you have no concept of what's happening next door. They are, though, impacting each other, right? They are both in Saturnian signs. They are both in the kind of transpersonal, like universal section of the zodiac. And so they are all about formal structures as they pertain to groups of people. So the sun making a sextile to Venus in Capricorn is sort of getting a sense of where these efforts that we're currently involved in, what we are releasing at this time, is overlapping with maybe what our plans are with the people we're connecting with, the people we're doing this work with, right? Whatever this Capricorn mission is in our chart, whatever Capricorn means to us at this time, Venus is currently helping us to connect with people who have similar values and who desire to invest in similar structures. So the moon here releasing in Scorpio and making this connection to Venus may see us making broader connections to other people who are kind of moving the same direction or are processing similar themes. And then when we have the square to the sun, we're seeing that sense of what does this mean in my sort of collective understanding of our world right now? What else do I need to be aware of? What else do I need to clear out in order to purify this vision and make way for what I need to plant as we approach the Aquarius new moon? This is also the same day that Mercury in Capricorn makes a sextile to Neptune in Pisces at 25 degrees. So we definitely see more of that kind of planning for the future, thinking about not only the big picture, but the long term, getting a sense of what on the ground in Mercury I can begin to focus on at this moment that is creative, right? Or that can be boosted with some creativity by this connection to Neptune, that is big picture and collective focused, right, in Pisces, as well as maybe transcending what we currently know on this earthly realm. So there's a good amount of imagination taking place at this third quarter moon, and that might be allowing us to feel more trustful of what we're releasing, which is typically more difficult for a Scorpio moon as it is in detriment, and that might feel like it wants to hold on to what it has out of fear that it might not get more of what it needs down the line. The next day, Saturday, this moon opposes Uranus at 19 degrees of Taurus. Maybe there are a lot of emotional repercussions to this process of release. What I just said about that sense of deepening our trust in this process this time, we might have a little bit of both, right? Again, change is upon us, change is afoot. We feel both excited and terrified by change. We are both really interested in imagining the possibilities and also very capable of imagining the pitfalls and the spirals that could occur. So even if that Mercury connection to Neptune allows us to get creative and maybe feel a more connected sense of faith in what we're doing, or at least a sense of hopefulness about what's possible, we are still feeling this challenging opposition to Uranus as perhaps an awareness of all of the threats that could derail our plans, an awareness of the the panic of letting go of what we've had. There's still that sense lingering within us of fear. And what we said a moment ago about instincts and being in a strength year, these are very challenging reprogramming moments. Like we don't just wake up and feel more trustful of completely altering our environment and our life path. Like, we're humans, we are driven by security, we are living in very wild times, and there's so much that is out of our control already, but to lend more to that can create a lot of instability within us. Never fear, the moon makes a sextile to its ruler, Mars, still exalted in Capricorn at 22 degrees. So this is kind of that oomph that we need, that Martian, just like, this is where we need that Mars energy, right? That just like, no, but like, my instincts are strong. My instincts are sound. Like, this is why we are kind of being asked to trust what Mars is asking us to jump into with that Aries North node, because it is exalted, because it is in a place where it is typically resourced to accomplish what it needs to. And so we are in a position where we can conceivably, saying this with like a huge asterisk, put some feelers out about what we need in order to make some changes happen. So that sextile to Mars might be that extra oomph that we need, that extra just like instinct kicking in of, no, I trust myself. I know that I'm making this choice from a place of being grounded, from a place of having what I need. And I can tell the difference between echoes of fears and just like the uncertainty of the unknown. And I'm not conflating them. I'm not going to let everything like turn into a big spirally chaotic mess. And then the moon makes a trine to Neptune in Pisces at 25 degrees. So connecting with what Mercury just conversed with Neptune just the day before, we're perhaps getting that bigger transcendent emotional pull into the possibilities, into like transcending the fear. We're basically being asked to kind of surrender to the moment, surrender to what has to change and what has to be released, surrender to the fact that we are humans who are fearful and who hate change, like cats, and just kind of rise above that and be part of that Neptunian, there's a bigger vision happening here that I can't see all of because it is being co-created by universe. So I'm just gonna like trust that I'm doing the work down here and we're good. Let's remember some of the shadow element of Neptune, however, which is escapism, and we may be compelled to escape in some substancy kind of way or some other sort of leaving Earth vibes in order to kind of alleviate, because we might feel really overwhelmed by all of these feelings of instability. And so we might be drawn to escape into something very easily that might not be helpful for us. So it's just things to consider. Okay, we're wrapping up this lunation cycle. We're going to do a quick recap, beginning with the Capricorn new moon, our Aries first quarter moon, our Leo full moon, and then we will pull for this Scorpio third quarter moon. See you there. Okay, so here we have our very full lunation cycle, starting off with our Capricorn new moon, our first quarter moon in Aries, last week's Leo full moon. If you missed any or all of these videos, check them out. Click on the little links, go back, refresh, and meet us back here, and we will see how this narrative ends. Okay, here we go. So, a reminder that you can head to priestessbaby.com/shop if you would like to download the free Moon Phase Tarot Pull PDF. That includes all 4 of the lunation cycle spreads. You can pull along with us for yourself. All right. So, in this third quarter moon, we are asking about what is coming to a close now, and what our previous attachment to what is ending now might look like. How we might be able to create meaning from this part of this process as humans. And lastly, what we can invite in at this time, where we'll be watching the moonlight kind of disappear as we embrace this third quarter moon. And with that, we can start getting an idea of what will fill in with the light, what we can invite in to fill in with the light. Here we go. Okay. Feels like just a little dark in here, doesn't it? Okay, there we go. That's much better. All right, so what is coming to a close now? Okay, so we'll look at this upright as well as reversed. Let's think about some stories that we could see here upright. Maybe we're the beginning stage of something is ending, right? The page is always that initiation. There's some sort of conversation about what we'd like to create that is passionate within this fire, about these wands, something that we yearn for and want to move towards, something lighting up within us that has potential. So maybe we're ending this potential stage. Maybe that means the stage 1 has concluded and we are ready to enter into stage 2. That's one possibility here, right? We are talking about a lunation cycle in which we've been making new things happen. So maybe this was the kind of new urge. This was the match that was struck within us, and now in this fourth and final lunation stage of this current cycle, we might be seeing the initiation part of this sequence come to a close, meaning that we're seeing the next chapter open. So that feels like a positive reading of this. We could flip this and say maybe something that's ending is a period of stagnation, right? So also, I don't think there's a negative connotation here. I think this could be like something that's because it's ending. So even if we've been stuck in this place, typically if we see the page reversed, we might say, all right, maybe you're out of ideas, or like you're feeling stuck, you're feeling creatively dry, you're feeling uninspired, you're feeling weighed down. And so nothing is coming to the surface for you to kind of latch onto and move forward with. So perhaps this period is ending. Perhaps this period of being stuck has kind of, maybe you've been wedged open by all these squares, by all of these sort of more tumultuous transits that we've talked about, maybe are lighting up some inspiration within you. Okay. Our previous attachment to what is ending now, well, maybe I was really good at that thing. Maybe, okay, if the initiation stage is over, then maybe my attachment to it was that I didn't have to actually be building toward it. Maybe I like being in the beginning. Maybe I like being in the hypothetical. Maybe I like being in the moment of creation or like inception, but I don't necessarily like, or I'm not as skilled at the part where I have to put in the work. This is our Knight of Pentacles. This is our worker bee. This bee is ready to pollinate all these flowers, right? So maybe we are attached to being in the initiation sequence because we don't have the energy yet to build up to this place. Maybe we are afraid, we don't know the steps to take, right? And the knight is like, okay, I'm freaking ready to I'm going to work. So like that bee needs instructions. Maybe we don't know how to create or outline the instructions for ourselves. Maybe we don't currently have the energy to put into this. Or we're scared. I mean, we talked about that obviously in Uranus, so it's probably more internal, that there's a fear that we're not ready to step up to this, or that we don't have what it takes, that kind of feeling, okay? Our attachment is that I've been building the plan. I've been kind of working on it inside myself, and that means I've been a little bit withdrawn energetically, or it's allowed me to pull my energy back from other things to be in this initiation sequence. So some maybe like negotiation about having to put in the work, or being ready to put in the work, or knowing what the work even looks like at this point, and being much more comfortable in the hypothetical than in the tangible. It's much easier to like be excited about a new idea when it's ethereal, when it's still intangible, when it's still just a conversation. This means we have to start making it real. And that is really easy to want to avoid. Okay. How I can make meaning, or have made meaning from this process. Okay, so we had the Strength card show up last week in terms of, you know, energies that we're collectively moving through. And so we might be getting a glimpse back to some of the themes we worked through last year, since last year was a chariot year. And so maybe we've been able to make sense of, oh, you know, I'm getting an understanding about kind of getting my motivation aligned with my sense of drive. And like, am I aware of what I want to get done, but like having a really difficult time in wrangling myself to move toward that? One of my long-standing kind of regular clients was explaining to me about the chariot this week, that relationship that humans have to horses, right? And that, of course, takes us back to the initial Rider-Waite image, where there are two horses pulling a carriage. And so just describing, because I did not grow up with horses, so just describing what kind of trust is necessary to have a relationship to horses in which the horses are the ones doing the work, and we have to trust them to do that work. We can't force them, right? And that's something I've certainly, you know, picked up from pop culture, I think, is that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it, is a catchphrase, or is an expression, is an idiom, right? You can't force horses to do anything. They're so stubborn, right? And so it's not about force. We can't force ourselves to do things without, you know, betraying a relationship to ourselves. So it takes a lot of subtlety and nuance to really understand the connection between ourselves, like our conscious selves, and our motivation. And that certainly makes sense here in the context of these cards. I like the idea part. I have a harder time aligning the energy or the path, the steps, the blueprint, etc. And so this is, you know, a way I can make meaning from this is that I can get a sense of what kind of relationship I need to have with myself in order to make this transition feel smoother, or to make it easier for me to show up for this idea, to understand what kind of relationship I need to be in with myself to allow for that very nuanced trust to get moving, right? Our drive, our motivation versus our conscious selves, and who's in charge here. Okay, so what I can invite in at this time, what are we inviting in? Intuition. Beautiful. We're going from page to page. Page of Wands telling us, okay, here's the idea, here's the passion that I want to pursue. I'm stepping out of the newness of this cycle. I'm stepping out of the beginnings of something that I want to create. Maybe I'm a little bit stuck on how we're going to get there. This is showing me about my connection to my overall drive and instincts around motivation. So what I'm going to invite in the darkness that's being created as this moon wanes is intuitive ideas. I want to invite a deeper connection to my emotional instincts. I want to be open to possibilities. I want to be open to new feelings, and not just necessarily the Ace of Cups new feelings, but like I'm generating the new feelings. The new feelings are information. The new feelings are leading me towards something, right? And so the Knight of Cups is the one who wants to then demonstrate and act on those things. So if I'm not necessarily sure about what steps I want to take, I do want to open up to what feelings will help me with that. What instincts, what intuition is ready to come in and be downloaded and processed around these other themes, okay? And so I'm thinking, like, do I need to reverse this? I don't think so, because even if we want to flip this, and I think it's pretty clear, like what we talked about with that disconnection possibly between these things is certainly what we see in the reversal here. Like, oh, I'm recognizing that maybe I'm out of touch with, like, this relationship needs my attention. This relationship needs an overhaul. Okay, so if we flip this, then this is still an invitation to maybe look within to what our intuition even looks like, maybe deepening, inviting in a deeper relationship to what our intuitive processes are. What sort of intuition have I been paying attention to? What have I been neglecting? What messages have I been trying to, like, give myself or open myself up to that I've been ignoring or I've been scared to look at, right? If it's easier to stay in the initiation sequence and I'm not really sure about the plan, then I might have been missing opportunities already about how to get this started. So let me invite in a deeper awareness of my relationship to my intuition and get clear on what signs I'm trying to pay attention to, and like what signs are for me, what signs are mine to really pay attention to and learn from. Okay. Oh, this lunation cycle started off somewhat heavy with the Five of Cups. The full moon brought us the Ten of Swords. This has not been the easiest narrative of the tarot to explore, but we're certainly ending on a pretty beautiful and fruitful note here of kind of tapping into some final lessons here about this Chariot, getting clear on what that relationship needs to look like within us, and then allowing that to help make more sense of how we can move toward this without feeling stressed or uncertain, with, you know, moving out of that Uranus opposition into that sextile to Mars. Like, oh yeah, my instincts and my intuition are kicking in. Okay, I got this, I can do this, I can open up to what I need. So it can happen. All right, y'all, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so excited to explore the Aquarius cycle with you, starting with the Aquarius new moon next week. That is going to be square Uranus. So please come back and see me so we can talk all about that and see what kind of surprises we're in store for. All right, I'll see you then.